Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Radash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Okay, I'm going to go into this video by the brother Arrows of Indignation 144, entitled Eve Says Enough with Being a Independent Woman at 50 Years. Your best years are behind you, Eve. Too late. And I'm going to play this video, but in the video, the woman, which I'm not sure who she is, but she's basically venting and complaining about being an older woman, which I think, like the brother said, she's 50 years old, but she's an older woman and still single, not married, not tied down to anybody, not associated with anybody, and she's still having to survive on her own, having to be responsible for her own, doing all the things herself, paying bills, not having an easier life because she has a man who's making life easier for her, so she's complaining about not having that, not having an easier life because a man making her life easier. And notice how she's complaining about the things that she has to do that she want a man to do, but she hasn't said anything, not one thing about she wants to provide for, she wants to do for a man. She wants to cook for her man. She wants to be his peace. She wants to do the things that will make him happy. Notice how a lot of these women that complain about being single and not having a man, none of them are saying that they want to do the things that would make a man happy. They want to do the things that would actually make a man stay and keep them, and take care of them. They always talk about they tired of paying bills, they tired of being alone, they tired of not having nobody, which is true. And all of this is a part of Isaiah 4:1. But the women for Isaiah 4:1, they're also going to have the mindset of doing things to keep a man, because that's what a lot of these women are feeling at. They thinking that, okay, they tired of being single, they ready to be under a man, but the men mindset have changed from just wanting a woman. We don't just want your presence. We are happier being alone, paying our own bills, and providing for ourselves and doing the things that we like. That makes us happy. But now if a woman is coming to make our life easier by doing the things that we need women to do in order to help us, in our goals, then yeah, that makes all the difference. That makes a difference because now you have a woman who's assisting you in building your empire. That's what they fail to realize, and that's what this woman fails to realize. She, as you're gonna hear, she's gonna vent about all the things that she tired of doing and what she tired of seeing and what she's not experiencing. Yet you don't hear her say she ready to cook for a man. She knows she's an older woman and the men are not really checking for her. But if any man would want her, she would be really willing to cook for him. She'd be willing to do whatever it is that specific man that takes her on wants her to do, and to make his life easier and to make him, enjoy having her around. She's ready to do it. None of these women are saying that. So I'm gonna play this video and then I'm gonna just get a couple, a little bit information, and Lord willing, it's edifying. That person,
very pro woman, amazing, strong, independent woman. But might I add another angle? I would feel like, why the hell ain't no one trying to scoop me up to save my life? Am I ugly? Are they better looking than me? Why are they getting saved and I'm over here working, taking on extra shifts now because she got Richard Gere that came and scooped her up, and now she got an easy life, and now I got extra corns on my toes and my back hurts because no one's saving me. So you have a very positive attitude. I would have been a little bitter, why the fuck? Why not me? Why not? I don't want to be irresponsible. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of the goddamn cape. Somebody save me. I want to be Julia Roberts on Hollywood
No, you
Boulevard
don't.
in cheap shoes when some guy comes and saves me. I have worked hard since I was 14 and I had to pay. I'm sick of it, Erica. I'm sick
I
of it.
do understand.
It's a
I
thankless
understand
job
what you're
being
saying.
classy and independent. It's thankless. I've been dating since the 1900s and 80 something, and I'm still single. I'm tired, Erica. You found your man. Don't hate. Let me
I'm
live
not.
this. Let me vent. You're off the strip. I am still on it. I'm in the trenches, and it sucks. I'm sick of being independent. I fucking hate paying for my fucking Range Rover, my other car, my mortgage insurance, my freaking cell phone, computer, Wi-Fi. I am sick of it. I need some guy with bad health to jump on in and interrupt and say, let me take you off your shift. You've been working hard enough. So that's cute what she's doing. I'm not doing that. We are different. I'm tired. I've proven myself, and it only impresses other women. She's like, oh, that's amazing. My friend's independent. These men don't care. Come and save me, some chic, minus the dookie. Just please, come and save me. I'm tired. I'm tired, Erica. I don't want to do it no more. Where's my, Melania? I want the Melania Trump plan. I'm sick. I've proven myself. Since 1988.
At 88.
I'm tired. I was 15 out of paper route.
Damn, that's a long time.
72 clients. 30-cent tip for some of you bastards in East Providence, Rhode Island on 2nd Street. I remember I gave you papers 7 days a week, and on Sunday you gave me a 30-cent tip. I'm tired. So I'm glad it worked out for you, but I'm not there.
Being a strong, independent woman since
Overrated.
1988
Since
is a lot,
88.
Claudia.
Since Salt and Pepper came out.
That's a lot.
I didn't want that to play because I don't know if they're going to give me the copyright for that.
If I'm a little frustrated. So I envy the girls that got taken off the pole, so to say.
Nobody said nothing about no damn poll.
But metaphorically.
Yeah, nobody said what my point was, because here's the thing. The point was that this is a...
Take off the cape, Erica. We lost the election. We're not doing this anymore.
I'm not...
Soft life. Hookers are winning. Hoes are winning. Hookers are in the White House again. First lady, if you will. I'm over it. No one cares. Nobody cares about independence anymore. But I respect it, but they don't.
I get it. But my point was that this...
And she's damn right. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care about how you feel. And you just represent many, many women. Old or young. Because it ain't just the older women. It's young women too. The young women just as gone as the old women. You know, y'all all in the same boat. The difference is at least the older women, the older generation of women, they have more skills. Some of these older women know how to cook. You know, they learn how to cook. They learn how to clean. They learn how to do some of this. These young women, they don't know how to do none of that. You know, you competing. You as a man do better at cooking and cleaning for your own self that she can do. And you know, that's really sad. Not saying that men not supposed to know how to do this, whatever the case may be, but it's the fact that these women, they don't care. You know, they don't care at trying to do the things that please a man. And even her, in her mindset, she said everything out of all of what she said in the video is 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. And that little 3 minutes, well, we'll take away maybe 15 seconds. I think it was probably like 10 or 15 seconds of the introduction. And then so we'll just take off 20 seconds. You know, so in 3 minutes and 20 seconds of this video, she didn't say not one time she was ready to provide, like, you know, prove herself as wife material. Cook, clean, be quiet, do whatever her man tells her to do. You know, it's over with for children, but if he has children, you know, she'll be willing to be a mother. You know, whatever the case may be, she ain't say nothing like that. Nothing. And the majority of women have already met the man that they were supposed to be with. You know, because a man can have multiple wives. He can have multiple wives There is no limit on how many wives a man can have. So the women, majority of women have already met the man. Now, the reason I say majority, because you still have Isaiah 4:1 that has to fully manifest. And you still have, sisters that's in this faith that believe that's going to be paired up with men of the Lord, as well as other women that the Lord is going to have mercy on to be paired up with the men of the Lord. But the majority of women have already met the man that they were supposed to be with. And however the situation may have happened, they're not with that man anymore. Whether they cheated, whether they left him, whether they, ignored him, never got with him, never gave him a chance, whatever the case may be, whatever might have happened, they're not with him. And now they're alone. Now men are not checking for them like that. But again, like I said, they wanted to be independent. So I went on and got some of the definitions. You got ChatGPT and got the definition of independent on Google. So this is independent. It says, and I'm gonna get straight to the point or main point. It says free from outside control, not dependent on another's authority, which is completely against how women were designed. Women were not supposed to be independent. They were, which I get that. Okay, there you go. It's Genesis chapter 3. Scroll down. This is Genesis 3:16 in the AMP. To the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your pain and childbirth. In pain, you will give birth to children. Yet your desire and longing will be for your husband, and he will rule with authority over you and be responsible for you. So the Lord reiterated the purpose of a woman to Eve, because that was the original purpose. That wasn't him first giving her the commandment of, okay, now your husband's going to rule over you. But before she had free will, no, that was always the plan. That was always how it was. The Lord just told her, look, now, because of everything that done transpired, I'm going to make giving birth for you extremely painful. It's not going to be pleasant like it was before. It's going to be extremely painful. And you're going to have a desire for your husband. You're going to want to rule over him. You're going to want to have a desire unto him. But he shall rule over you with authority, and he going to be responsible for you. That's how it's going to be forever. So going back to independent. Free from outside control, not dependent on another's authority. That's what these women want, and now they're getting the result of that. And as you can see, as synonyms down here at the bottom, it says undisciplined, lacking in discipline, uncontrolled in behavior or manner. That's what being independent has gotten these women, to be undisciplined, uncontrolled in behavior or manner. And just like she said, she's 50 years old. You were undisciplined in your youth. That's why you're still single even when you're 50. And a lot of women are going to meet that fate, dying alone, dying without a husband, dying without a man. No man is going to care for you. No man wants to take care of you. Wild. It says of an animal or plant living or growing in the natural environment, not domesticated or cultivated. You can just use not domesticated. When you think about like animals like cats or something, they call it a house cat. It's been domesticated, Let me see if I can even get the definition of domesticated. To tame or neutralize, it says keep as a pet, which we know we ain't going into actual pets or nothing. But look, domesticated. Number 3, humorous. I like housework. I'm quite domesticated, really. Domestic. Stay at home or home loving, housewifely, house trained. You'll look at, you'll tell a woman, domesticate. You associate that woman domesticate with a woman. You'll associate the word domesticate with a woman, and she'll instantly get offended. But in the definition, it says stay at home, a home loving or housewifely, a stay at home wife, stay at home mom. That's what you were designed to be. That's what domesticate is. When it comes to animals, yeah, it goes to tame and something like that. But when it comes to people, it's not as negative as they make it seem. You know, housebroken or house trained. That's where you are. Like it says, naturalized. And number two, acclimatized, habituated, cultivated. You know, that's just where it is, housewifely. So, not domesticated or not house stay at home, because these women, what they was talking about, they outside, city girls, hot girls, summer. This was just a couple years ago. This ain't that long ago. Now they begging men to get them some attention. And even with that, they're not begging men. They're not leading with the things that they can do or what they can offer. That's why they still single. See, they thought that they can just say they ready for male attention. They want male attention. They want a man. But you still not lead that. Even now, because you got situations where brothers and men in this truth, they'll go out. They'll be out in the world. You know, when I say be in the world, I mean like they might go out to get something to eat. They might go out for a drink. You know, men do what they do. Go out shopping, go to the grocery store. And women approach them, or a woman might approach them trying to talk to them, trying to get with them. And the man might not be interested. She can probably be attractive. You know, she could be attracted to him, but he's not interested. Because that man, he may have a woman, he may not. But even if he did have a woman and he has the mindset of polygyny, that just because you approach him don't mean that you're going to automatically be granted his number. You're not leading with anything that makes him interested in you. And that be what these women fail at too. You think that a man is just going to want you just off of your looks and you trying to look attractive. But that all that means is you have nothing else to offer. You know, you have a woman, she might be less attractive than you. She ain't going to just be completely outside of something that he might want. But she might be less attractive than you, but she'll lead with the things that makes this man desire to have her, you know? And that's the difference. So it says wild, which is not domesticated, willful, of an immoral or illegal act or omission, intentional, deliberate. These are all characteristics that come with being independent for a woman. Headstrong, self-willed, and obstinate. Don't no man want to deal with something like that. And now these women are understanding that. We never wanted that, you know? It says not dependent on another for livelihood or substance. That's what she was saying. She said she wants somebody who's out of shape, you know, somebody out of shape or bad health or something. Come and make her life easier. Say she's too pretty to be dealing with all this. She shouldn't have to deal with something like that. That's what she wants. She wants somebody to come and make her life easier, but didn't offer or didn't say anything about making his life easier, you know? That's what she wants. She wants somebody to make her life easier. But not too long ago, that's all you women wanted. Y'all wanted to be independent, not dependent on a man to make your life easier. Or if you wanted a man, you just wanted a man to fund your life. You didn't want him to actually lead you. You wanted to be funded while still being independent. It don't work that way. Of income or resources, making it unnecessary to earn one's living. A woman of independent means. Capable of thinking or acting for oneself. Women was never supposed to be in a position where they think and act for themselves. And I'm not saying small matters, something like that, because you got people who get you really got people, especially women, who think that a man telling them when to take a bite to eat is no, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about control in that sense. But yeah, if we say like if a woman thinking about if you making plans, like you might tell her, look, you should go to the grocery store early in the morning and go ahead and get everything we need and go ahead and prepare a meal and get the meal out the way earlier in the day. That way, for the rest of the day, You can relax, you can chill, do whatever else you need to do, and we can enjoy each other's company. And we can enjoy, having each other around. That way you don't have to interrupt us relaxing with getting up to go cook. We could just sit back and chill for the day. This is the day I'm gonna go ahead and take care of my business early in the day so I can make time and do what I need to do for you. And she follows your plan. It's nothing wrong with that. I want you telling a woman what to do, and how to organize the day. You plan the day out for yourself because you already intending on giving her some time for that day. You handle your business early in the day so y'all can relax together at a latter portion. But when you start telling a woman that, about control, being independent, being dependent on the man is also going into that man having control. Women, this one thing that women gonna ask you, are you controlling? Yeah. And then the first thing they be like, so you would tell, hey, I got it. Whatever you say goes, no matter what I feel. It's not about that. You overthinking it. That's the first thing that come to their mind. But then they be crying about not having a man. It don't make sense. So capable of thinking or acting for oneself, not influenced or affected by others, impartial. If you feel you can be independent, well, go ahead and be independent. Go ahead and be without a man's judgment or leadership, and see how well that works out for you. Because you got women that's way older than you that's telling you that lifestyle is not it. Not connected with another or with each other, separate. That just like her, she said she's single. And don't think that she ain't never had men. She done had plenty of men in her lifetime. And it ain't now one of them with her now. And like I said, almost or just about every woman, majority of women have already met the man that they were supposed to be with. They wasn't the type of woman that he was going to keep, whether she left or not. They wasn't, because even certain men, they might have to be built up. They might have to grow. We all growing. We all having to level up. So that man might have had to level up, but she became the reason why he leveled up and left him instead of growing with him and leveling up with him, watching him grow and them growing together, Now, I'm not going to go into all of them. So now let's go into the next thing. It's Chat GPT. Let me type it back in. I had typed in, what is an independent woman? And this is what Chat GPT says. I'm going to let it finish let it finish doing all that. All right. It says, an independent woman is someone who is self-reliant, confident, and capable of taking care of herself emotionally, financially, and mentally. Women were not designed to do this. They were not designed, and I'm not saying to be confident, but to be self-reliant. When a woman is born, when a girl is born, she is relying on her parents. After she grows up to marriageable age, she's relying on her husband. That's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. It says capable of taking care of herself emotionally. Women are emotional creatures. They can't control their own emotions. So how can you take care of yourself emotionally when you can't control your emotions? That's a part of the reason why you wasn't meant to lead, because you're emotional. And your emotions govern your decision making instead of logic, as how a man is, logical. That's scientifically proven, that's biblically proven, that's proven on so many levels that people, the common everyday person, knows this. And then it says financially. You depend on a man to take care of you. You hear her saying she's tired of doing all these things for herself. She wants a man to come in and take care of her. That's financially and mentally. And these women are some of the have the most mental issues because everything is out of order. That's why they have some of the biggest and most mental issues. They have all these different problems. They take these different medicines because they're out of order. And that's why even women say they can't stand being around women, because a lot of these women aren't right. It's just this independence doesn't mean she never needs support or relationships, but that her identity, choices, and direction in life aren't dependent on others' approval or control. See, that's the problem. Her direction, or her identity, and that's what they say. They say they lose themselves, they lose their identity when when a man controls them. But I'm gonna get another scripture. Let me get it now. I think it's I keep forgetting. I think it's in okay, yeah, here it is. It's 1 Peter chapter 1. And 5. And it's talking about Sarah. I'm reading the AMP. It says, for in this, well, I want to get straight to the point. I'm going to get straight to the point. It's 1 Peter 3 and 5, AMP. For in this way, in former times, the holy women who, I'm going to start at 1. It says, in the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands. And it says there are both military and sporting analogies associated with the word of submit. It can refer to the act of falling in line. An example, each soldier reporting to his proper place, which falling in line applies to these women too. Or each team member respecting how the team works. An example, acknowledging and participating in his assigned position. And that, again, applies to women. Because a man can have multiple wives. He can have multiple women doing multiple things. So each team member respecting how the team works, how her Lord, which is the man, has everything set in order. And she has to submit to that order. So be submissive to your own husbands, subordinate, not as inferior, because it's not a thing of you being a lesser person, like a lesser human being. But when it comes to the order, you're not on the same level as a man. It says, but out of respect for the responsibilities entrusted to husbands and their accountability to the Most High. Because we just read in Genesis, the man is responsible for his wife. Men are responsible for their wives. So as a woman, you have to understand that he's responsible for you. He's responsible for the other woman. He's responsible for all the women, and he has to manage these women. And none of y'all have the same personalities. None of y'all have the same. Y'all are all different. So you have to respect that. You have to honor that. And so partnering with them so that even if some do not obey the word of the Most High, that they may be won over to the Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, without discussion by the godly lives of their wives. When they see your modest and respectful behavior together with your devotion and appreciation, love your husband, encourage him, and enjoy him as a blessing from the Most High. See, these are not things that that woman was leading with. She's talking about she's tired of being single, but at the same time, she ain't leading with none of these qualities, none of these traits. It's more than just cooking and cleaning. That's just something that you can at least, and that's how you would get a man attention. You start with that, but that's just a part of it. Verse 3, your adornment must not be merely external, with interweaving and elaborate knotting of the hair and wearing gold jewelry, or being superficially preoccupied with dressing in expensive clothes. It might not even be up no more. Yeah, just look at her. Look at her on the right. She got the weave in. I doubt that's her real hair. Got the weave in, the dress. Pretty sure she got a nice shape for her age. Got the makeup on. She don't look like she fit. I'm pretty sure she take care of herself, but still, you can tell she got it on. She got all these things on, all these external qualities, but what about the internal? And you can just tell by just the little time that she spoke where her mind is. She didn't lead with anything that would make a man desire her. But let it be the inner beauty of the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable quality and unfading charm of a gentle and peaceful spirit, one that is calm and self-controlled, but not over anxious, but serene and spiritually mature, which is very precious in the sight of the Most High. And I didn't pick up none of that from her. Calm or self-controlled. She didn't even let the other woman speak. She was venting. True enough, she was venting. But even in her vent, it wasn't calm. It wasn't controlled. She was just venting out her frustration. And in her frustration, she didn't say anything wise. You know? She was just basically complaining about tired of being single, somebody come fund her life and be there when she want you there. Cause I guarantee you, if somebody came and scooped her up, after a while, she gonna be like, okay, you go do what you do, I'm gonna do what I do, I'm gonna go have my fun, and when I'm ready for you, I'll send for you. That's her mindset. Verse 5, now the point. For in this way, in former times, the holy women who hoped in the Most High used to adorn themselves, being submissive to their own husbands and adapting themselves to them, which is the point. It says they adapted themselves to their husbands. That's what Sarah did. I'm going to just read verse 6 just because. Just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, following him and having regard for him as head of their house, calling him Lord, and you have become her daughters if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear. That is being respectful towards your husband, but not giving in to intimidation, nor allowing yourselves to be led into sin, nor to be harmed. So, right, it's not saying that, you follow this man and he doing something wicked and sinful and you know it's wicked and sinful and you just doing it anyway just because he's your husband. You don't want to do nothing outside of what the Lord commanded you to do. You don't want to be wicked, but at the same time, and be scared for your life, being led into sin or doing something that's going to harm you, but you still following him. But he's saying, look, you still supposed to be respectful for your husband and follow him, whether he in the truth or not. That's just the order. But she called him Lord and she adapted herself to him. So going back to this, it says, but that her identity, choices, and direction in life aren't dependent on others' approval or control. Sarah's was her identity, who she became. That was all because of who Abraham was. She adapted herself into Abraham. Her choices became because of the influence and the direction that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua was leading Abraham in. And the direction in her life was all determined on Abraham. Once she got married to Abraham, once she was given it to him, her direction, everything about her was conformed to who Abraham was. That's how it's supposed to be. But when you're an independent woman, that doesn't come about. Now, I'm not going to go into read every single thing. I'm just read the topics. It says financially self-sufficient. Women was never supposed to be that. You wanted to make your own money. You wanted to have your own income. Well, there you go. You got what you wanted. Now you complain about having to pay bills. You complain about having to take care of every little thing every month. And wanting a man to fund your lifestyle. It don't work that way. You don't make your own money, but spend his. And women have a bad, they have that mindset bad that her money is her money and his money is her money. They got that bad. Emotionally grounded. And we know for damn sure these women are not emotionally grounded. They can't control their own emotions. Confident in her decisions. They don't even be confident in their decision making. They always be doubting their decisions. These women be questioning themselves. Yeah, I know for sure as men, we all done dealt with women that you don't even say nothing. They be trying to make a decision. They be sitting back going back and forth about the decision, really just waiting for you to make the decision for them. They be, and I just be sitting back listening as if I really don't care. Because sometimes certain stuff I really don't be caring. But I done already made the decision for her. I'm just letting her struggle. They don't be confident in their decision making. But then when you tell them the decision, they go with it. 9 times out of 10, they might go with it. Self-aware and evolving, strong sense of purpose. Your purpose, they don't have a strong, they have women, these independent women have the weakest sense of purpose because you're outside of your purpose. Your purpose was to serve the man. That's what the word woman goes into, serving. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, how is it that us telling a woman that she's a servant is just so bad, but then we'll turn around and say we're a servant of the Lord? It don't make sense. And the Lord made the man over the woman. So where is the issue? How would you rather be called a servant of the Lord, but he told you to be a servant to the man, and when the man tell you you're a servant, you got a problem. And servant in that sense doesn't make you anything less. It just means you're here to assist the man in whatever he has going, whatever he's doing. You're a personal assistant. You're his secretary, so to speak. There's nothing wrong with that. But you wanted to be independent. You didn't want that role. You wanted to be the boss. That's what women call themselves, boss chick. They the boss. Okay, well, enjoy being a boss. Enjoy us being on equal playing terms or equal fields. So now the same things that I have to deal with in this world, you got to deal with it. But I was equipped by the Lord, built by the Lord to handle this where you wasn't. So enjoy being a boss. Maintain healthy relationships, capable of handling challenges. It says come, and they're not capable of handling challenges either. They cry at damn near everything that start getting hard. It says common misconceptions. Being independent doesn't mean she's anti-relationship or doesn't want support. It doesn't mean being cold, stubborn, or rejecting help. It's about choosing rather than needing. Now notice that every single thing we read about it being an independent woman, none of it said anything about being under a man, serving a man, doing the things that pleases a man. It's all about a woman doing what she thinks she can do to be ahead in life with the outside of a man. And it's miserably failing. It's miserably failing. Now, the last one, so I got to type it in again. It says, what is a pick-me girl? And this just to counter the independent woman. Matter of fact, let me see something real quick. You know what? I'm gonna just read this one. Yeah. I'm gonna just read this one. I'm gonna leave this up, and then I'm gonna just read that one. Because I was gonna do a pick me girl, but this is a better counter to that. All right, I'm gonna let it populate, and then I'm gonna go back and read it. As a matter of fact, I might read the other one because I think the other one was kind of. I think I kind of like the other one better. This is a dependent woman. It says a dependent woman is someone who relies heavily on others emotionally, financially, or otherwise for her sense of security, identity, or decision making. The dependence can show up in different ways or degrees, and it's not always negative. Human beings naturally depend on each other to some extent, but when dependence limits personal growth, freedom, or emotional well-being, it can be unhealthy. It can become unhealthy. Now it says key traits of a dependent woman in a psychological or social sense. Emotionally reliant on others. She may seek constant reassurance, validation, or approval to feel okay about herself, which we ain't saying a woman needs to be unconfident. She not to be, because you do have a lot of women. They're not, they see their flaws and think that they need to cover up their flaw. Like, for example, a lot of these women say they like makeup because the way it looks, they like to play on their face or this, that, and the third. But in a deeper sense, you really hate the way you look. Because if you didn't, why are you trying to cover it up? Why are you trying to mask your imperfections? When men, we have told women many times, we don't like that shit. You know, we don't like makeup. We don't like all the we would rather see you natural with your natural hair. You know, even if it's not as to what you would want it to be, that's fine. You know, and us in this truth, we understand. We under the curses, so I can't fault you for that. But these women, they be unconfident in themselves and so focused on their flaws. We ain't saying that in a sense like that. Financially dependent, she might rely on a partner, family, or others for financial support and may not feel secure handling money or earning on her own. And in this society, because again, we're under the curses, we're in captivity. We understand, especially us as men, and especially even more so us in this truth. You know, women weren't supposed to be independent in the first place. So how much more us in captivity? You being independent is you siding with the enemy. He making life harder on us by making it easier for you, you know, so that you don't choose us. But now that has backfired. But at the same time, we understand, look, if you had a woman that's serving you, she doing right by you, you know, to the best of her ability, and she trying her best to make you happy, but she needs help financially, man, that man will do whatever it takes. He will take care of his woman. And it's that simple. I don't understand how women don't understand it. It's that simple. If you taking care of that man will take care of you. If you need help or whatever the case may be. Struggles with decision making. She may defer to others to make choices, fearing mistakes or disapproval. Well, a woman's supposed to do that. She's supposed to refer to her man. You got women that will refer to other women about decisions, and these women having same issues, or they don't know how to make decisions. And now they all just making bad decisions. But a woman that refers to her man, that's how it's supposed to be. Fear of being alone. She may stay in unhealthy relationships to avoid loneliness or feel lost without a partner. And see, that's the difference between a man and a woman. Because a man, he becomes stronger. He becomes forged. That's how he becomes fortitude, or that's where he get his fortitude from, being strong, being alone. A man becomes stronger when he's alone. Women are not geared to be that way, you know. Women were not designed to be that way. But at the same time, in this sense, how it's saying, she would rather be in. A lot of women would rather be in an unhealthy relationship rather than being alone. But that's not saying that women have to, you know, that's not really contributing to the dependency. Because we're not saying women need to be in unhealthy relationships rather than being alone. But men and women were designed to be together. You know, the Lord created male and female for the reason of them being together. Self-worth tied to relationships. Her identity or value may be shaped primarily by her role in someone else's life. An example, as a wife, girlfriend, or daughter. Yes, eliminate girlfriend, because that never was a thing. We wasn't dating in the ancient world. We had wives, we had children. Your role was either you was unmarried and then you were married. You wasn't dating. You know, even when you was betrothed to a man, you're promised to that man, so you're technically his wife. But the marriage ceremony or the consummation just hadn't happened yet. But you was already promised to him, so it was supposed to happen. But yeah, your self-worth is tied to your relationship. Sarah's self-worth was tied to her relationship with Abraham. You know, women's relationship was tied to their husbands. If you were unmarried, that was a shame unto you. You know. And if you didn't have children, it was a shame unto you as well. You know, being a mother, being a wife, all of that was important. So if you wasn't in those positions, especially in the ancient world, you know, it was a shame unto you. How much more now? You just see it on the video, the woman saying she tired of being single. That's a shame unto her for being that old and being single. I don't know if she had children, but even if she don't have children, that makes it even worse. You know, being that old and not having a husband. So their self-worth is tied to relationships. If you're able to keep a man, stay with a man and keep one. and avoids confrontation or boundaries. To avoid conflict or rejection, she may not assert her needs or opinions. And this, it ain't going into no negative type of control where she, you know what I'm saying, it ain't, that ain't what we trying to go into. So now it says not all dependence is negative. There's a difference between interdependence, healthy mutual support, and overdependence, loss of autonomy. And that's, yeah, right. And that's what we're going into, interdependence, healthy mutual support. That's what we're talking about. Because a man and a woman, you're a team. You're supposed to work together to fulfill the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You're a team, and it takes two. Well, it takes male and female, but the man, he gonna have multiple. So, you know, use that as you may. But from a woman's sense, it takes two, you and the man. Now the man, he gonna have multiple. Context matters. In some cultures or life situations, dependence can be circumstantial. Stay-at-home moms, and that was our women. You know, they didn't have the work. They weren't out here in the workforce like that. That's not how it's supposed to be. You know, people in financially controlled relationships, right? And you got situations like that where a man here have multiple wives. You know, we all working. Man works. He paying the bills. He making sure that everything is situated for his household. But the women, they're supporting that too. You know, they're paying certain bills. They helping out. So now it's one big family that's functioning in a way that it should be, because everybody's playing their role. Everybody's working. You know, in others, it might be emotionally linked to upbringing, trauma, or insecurity. Example of dependent behavior, asking a partner to make every decision, even small ones. That's not what we're going into. Feeling panic or incomplete when single, staying in a relationship out of fear of not being able to manage alone. So yeah, that's the point. We ain't trying to go all the way into it, but I understand, you know, ChatGPT just covering all angles. So again, just going back into it. This is the difference between an independent and a dependent woman. A dependent woman, interdependence, as it said, which is the healthy version. That's a woman in her right mind doing what she needs to do in order to make things function like it's supposed to. Serving the man, being in order, and in the times to come, understanding her role in that man's life alongside all the other women that man has. You know, not over dependence and not being independent. I might entitle the lesson over, or I'll come up with it. You'll see it, or you already done seen it. But on that note, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Until next time, shalom.